Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the November 23rd Board of Selectmen Wareham meeting for 7 o'clock. May I have a roll call, please? Mr. Titlebaum, would you do the roll call, please?
Present, 4 selectmen, town administrator, town council. I don't see Selectman Tropiano yet.
Thank you. The Pledge of Allegiance is going to be said tonight by the Wareham Tigers Mites team squad, who are the Super Bowl champions. They won this past weekend, and they are there with their cheerleading squad. So, ladies and gentlemen, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Go ahead. You all set?
Judy, did you mute them? Did you hear it?
No, we did not hear them.
Oh, they're gonna do it again.
Yeah.
I have to move up closer to the microphones.
Yeah, can you move the camera closer or the mic closer?
Is that any better?
No.
I can hear you.
Again, do it nice and loud. Oh wait, I got the other one. Sorry.
You can hear more of you.
All right, let's try again. Can you hear it now? No. Can you hear us now, Judith?
Yes.
The flag, United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Whatever that was.
If you guys will be quiet for a second, I'm going to read something from the Board of Selectmen to you. Okay, can you hear us? This is the Board of Selectmen from Wareham, Mass. Awards this certificate of recognition to the Wareham Tigers Athletic Association Mites Squad Super Bowl champions. Whereas the many hours you dedicated to practicing and training, you should feel proud of your accomplishments. Whereas your team has set
recording in progress.
Positive example for all of those who follow you. Whereas there were 7 games played in the season and the Mites won each one. Whereas the Wareham Tigers Athletic Association Mites squad completed a perfect season with their victory over Hull. Therefore, the Board of Selectmen congratulate you for achieving a perfect season and becoming the Old Colony Youth Football League Division 5 Mites Super Bowl champions with a 20-8 win over Hull. We are proud of our Wareham Tigers and the excellent leadership provided by the coaching staff. Presented to you this 23rd day of November, 2021 from the Wareham Board of Selectmen. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Congratulations.
Oh, great job.
Great job. Thank you.
said they want to go to Disney, Judith. Is that going to be paid for by the town of Wareham?
Steve, can you mute them, please? Thank you. Thank you. All right, announcements. I'll continue to go on with the ones I started. I want to thank the Key Club that did their annual or their semi-annual walk on Minot Avenue and picked up, I don't know how many bags of trash. Led by Mr. Stanton from the high school, the Key Club has a lot of members who are providing community service. The Wareham Land Trust has a mindfulness walk on November 5th through November 30th, located at 20 Knowles Avenue, which is off Depot Street, and self-guided. The Solar Bylaw Study Committee public comment meeting is going to be held on December 8th at 3 o'clock in the afternoon in the Town Hall Auditorium. They are hoping that a lot of people come and speak about their concerns and their ideas about solar in Wareham. And I just would like to remind everybody that starting this weekend and last weekend, all of the Christmas fairs in town are having fairs, and they're handmade goods, food, all sorts of things that we can buy from our neighbors and friends, buy locally. And that's all I have. We'll go to Mr. Muniz.
Monies.
Oh, God, I do it. Yes, I'm sorry.
So,
Mr. Muniz.
do we have a clerk appointed for this tonight's meeting yet?
Nope, we do not.
What are we doing here?
I'm going to ask for a motion for a clerk pro tem, please. I'll make the motion to appoint Mr. Muniz clerk pro tem.
Second.
Motion made by myself and seconded by Mr. Slavin. Roll call vote. Mr. Muniz,
Yes.
Mr. Titlebaum,
Yes.
Mr. Slavin.
Sometimes it's best to keep quiet, yes.
Yes, and myself, yes. So thank you, Mr. Muniz. So back to announcements, Mr. Muniz.
No, nothing.
Thank you. Mr. Titlebaum.
Just a reminder that the annual Wareham Village Association Christmas Parade is at 2 o'clock on Saturday, December 4th. I did get a text from Tracy McGraw, the president of the organization. She's still looking for us to be town criers. I said I would do it. Judy informs me that she and Alan, being part bionic, are going to be taking Alan's car. So that's going to leave Patrick, who's on his way, by the way. I got a hold of him. He said he was running a few minutes late. And Jim. So if I don't know if they want to, walk the route. I don't know if they want to ride in cars. I don't know if they want to be criers, but we should probably let her know fairly soon.
Not a problem.
Are you going to be a crier?
No, you can be the crier. You got to wear a hat, right?
It's got to wear a hat,
Well,
and I think something that looks like a jester's outfit. I don't know.
no, it's a cape. And actually, we have
cape.
3 of them available if you would like to do it, Mr. Muniz, along with Mr. Titlebaum.
I can walk the parade also.
Do you want to be a crier?
Sure, I'll cry along with them. He
Okay,
doesn't mind.
okay, excellent.
No. So that just leaves Patrick. So I'll let her know that she will have multiple criers.
Right, and we do have multiple costumes if you need them.
Yep. Good.
Excellent,
Maybe they'll even fit.
maybe. It's just a cape.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, okay,
Well, as long as the cape doesn't look like a scarf on us, I guess we're good.
fine. Let's go to Mr. Slavin. Announcements.
Yeah, I just want to thank the town, everybody who was involved with putting out the display of the Christmas trees at Bessie Park. I'm not sure if we're sold out or not, but it's really nice to see all of it and people step up and buy trees and everything else for relatives that have passed away and different reasons and stuff like that. I know Mrs. Whiteside, myself, and Sandy, we did purchase one tree in memory of our friend Joe Light. Again, I wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. It's extremely important that we be safe this Thanksgiving. I've had in the last 4 days, 3 different people call me saying they can't go to the Thanksgiving event or different reasons because either they've come down COVID test positive or they've met with somebody and that person is tested positive. I really thought we'd be past this by this time, and it seems to be worse all the time. Matter of fact, Sandy and I have lost 2 people over the last month from Sandy Valley in Nevada. Due to COVID, they both passed away, so it's been difficult for us. And the other thing is I've got a hold of Susan Williams-Gifford, and she's going to be meeting with Representative Strauss, another member of the South Coast Trail Project, to see if we get a meeting put together to talk about the actual reality of at least this pilot program coming to fruition. And I think that's probably all for me. Oh yeah, on the parade, since it was mentioned by Peter and stuff, we have a couple different car clubs. One of them, which is referred to, which people probably laugh and not laugh, it's called the Rusty Nuts Car Club. And the group would like to basically be in the parade. Their cars are like 1934 Fords, 47 Buick Roadmaster convertible, etc. So either Judy and I will be in the front, or we might be a little behind with the other people, but either way, we'll be there. That's it. Thank you.
Patrick's in the waiting room,
Thank you.
or just, so he's,
Yep, I will note him present at 7:12. Thank you so much.
yep, so he should be along shortly. WCTV
Okay.
will promote him.
Channel, yeah, I just got a message. Channel 95 is black, 9 should be good. So if you are having trouble seeing what you're supposed to be seeing, go to 9, okay? Thank you. We will now go to Mr. Latimer chooses to speak in citizens' comments. Would you let Mr. Latimer in? Hi, Patrick, how are you?
Oh, sorry.
No problem. Patrick, do you want to be a town crier, or do you want to walk in the parade, or what do you want to do?
I mean, I don't know. I don't have an outfit to walk and be a town crier. So and I'm
We have 3 outfits.
find one that's just off the rack.
All right, Peter.
Otherwise, I don't mind. So I can
Okay,
do
Peter.
Okay, so there'll be 3 walkers and 2 riders, and I'll let Tracy know that.
Yeah, and the 3 of you could be the criers, because I know that we have 3 costumes.
Okay.
Okay,
Good.
thank you. Mr. Latimer, I apologize for a little bit of chit chat here. How may we help you this evening? You're on. Go ahead.
Hi, good evening, ma'am. I was just putting in my application for my reappointment for the constable appointment, that's all.
Oh, thank you. We will call on you later on this evening then. Thank you.
Very good, thank you, ma'am.
Yep, you're welcome. Mr. Cosgrove, would you let him in, please?
Is this citizens' comments?
Yes, we're in citizens' comments.
Okay.
That was kind of a raucous beginning to this meeting. Didn't know how it would work.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, Mr. Cosgrove, we can. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you very much. Happy Thanksgiving. I joined to provide what I hope will be some helpful ideas to assist the town in the successful development of the old nail factory, given your agenda item tonight on the disposition agreement. As you know, the town's invested about $3 million in this old nail factory to date, and about $1.3 million of that has gone for environmental cleanup costs, which I think can fairly be said should have been identified in the acquisition agreement so that the town, at least in part, would not have had to have burdened all those expenses. My hope is we won't make these types of mistakes again this time around in contracting with the developer. Specifically, I'm hopeful that council and our excellent town administrator will make sure that their town is fully disclosed to the developer the condition of the dam and the ownership situation. And full disclosure would mean, in my judgment, copies of the decades of records from state and federal regulatory bodies on this topic. The RFQ for the dam removal bids did identify somewhat the dam condition and risk, but I don't know whether or not your RFQ to the developer of the project did so. And does the draft agreement on the agenda tonight explicitly protect the town? That disclosure was incomplete or inaccurate. And in this agreement, who's identifying who for damage to life or property after construction of the project if the dam next door should fail? As a practical matter, I don't think you're ever going to get a developer or a lender to invest capital into this project until the dam issue is solved first. And given the town's previously stated position that grant money cannot be used for a privately owned dam, I don't understand or would like to be educated on how the current plan to use a $175,000 state grant to pay for the proposed dam removal study can happen, being as the town is on the record that 2/3 of the property, dam property, is owned by a private party, namely AD Makepeace. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cosgrove. As you know, those are citizens' comments. We cannot answer you because it's not on the agenda. Well, it's on the agenda later, but that's your discussion. You are under
Just
Well,
lost.
Well,
Unfortunately, we just lost Judy. Hopefully she'll cut right back in. Anyway, and keeping the thing kind of moving here. Yeah, Mr.
Yeah.
Cosgrove, we don't typically comment on at all during citizens' participation. We thank you for your comments, though. All right, moving on. We have, let's see, is there anybody else with their hand up?
No, there's nobody else with their hand up.
Back,
I'll
okay.
feedback.
All right, you're back.
Yeah, I wonder what went on. Sorry about that.
All right.
So board's comments, Mr. Manise, now that we know you're going to be a town crier.
Yeah, hopefully, I know it wasn't on this week's or next week's agenda. We can start bring up the topic of the earth removal and start to move forward with that. That would be a good thing to get moving. You know, we'll chip away at some of these issues that we have ongoing. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Titlebaum? You're muted. You're still muted. Okay.
No comments.
Thank you. Mr. Slavin, comments?
no, I made everything necessary earlier.
Thank you, and I have no comments. We will now move on to appointments and reappointments and interviews.
I don't either, Judy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, this has really been, I think the Tigers, that performance threw me off kilter a little bit there. Sorry.
Yeah, okay,
Mr. Tropiano, do you have any comments?
No, I do not.
Do you have any announcements from earlier either?
Nope, I don't have any announcements. You know, it's that time of year. We're getting ready to have some fun.
Okay, great. So we do have some appointments, Mr. Tropiano?
We do.
We do.
You should mention that. First, for the Solar Bylaws Study Committee, term to expire no later than the completion of the 2022 annual town meeting. We have Denise Wolk. Is she here? Do you want to bring her in? Yes, she is. There you go.
Yes, she can come in, please. Oh, good. Thank you.
Hello.
You are muted, Ms. Wolk. Thank
A
you.
lot of people would probably prefer to stay muted. Just kidding.
Do you choose to address the board as to why you would like to serve on this committee?
You know, I'm an interested citizen. I don't have any specialized knowledge around bylaw writing or solar or anything else. I think that it's really important to balance both the needs of our community and the needs for renewable energy, along with preserving our community's character. So I'm very interested in joining so that I might help as a citizen to bring this forward.
Thank you. Do any of you gentlemen have any questions of this young lady?
Thank you.
Nope.
Thank you.
I
I will-
move that we appoint Denise Wolk to a term on the Solar Bylaw Study Committee, a term to expire no later than the completion of the 2022 annual Springtown meeting.
Second.
Motion made and seconded by Mr. Titlebaum. I will go for a roll call vote, please. Mr. Titlebaum,
Yes.
Mr. Tropiano,
Yes,
Mr. Manise,
Yes,
Mr. Slavin,
Yes,
myself, yes. Unfortunately, Ms. Well, Town Hall is closed tomorrow and Friday and Thursday. So next Monday, if you could go to the Selectmen's office, they will have the paperwork for you, and you would then go to the town clerk's office to be sworn in. You do, when you take the oath of office, promise that you will take the courses in ethics and conflict of interest training.
Okay,
Thank you very much for volunteering.
great. Thanks for having me.
And the next one, Mr. Tropiano?
yeah, the next one is the Zoning Board of Appeals Committee, Associate Member, term to expire June 30th, 2022. That's Troy. Is Troy in the audience?
Yes.
second.
There he is.
There he is.
Hi, how are you?
Hi,
In the video.
that's okay. Do you care to address the board about your interest in, oh, there you are, in
Here I am.
serving on this committee?
Yeah, I mean, I moved to the town a few years ago. I've been here about 3 years. I'm a Realtor. I work out of Falmouth and West Bridgewater and locally, and I just wanted to do my part for the community and get involved, basically.
Have you been to board meetings, CBA more meetings?
Yes, I've been to 5 or 6 of them since I put in the application.
Thank you. Do any of the rest of you have any questions of this gentleman?
Nope, just again, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay,
Go ahead.
I move that we appoint to the Zoning Board of Appeals Associate Member, term to expire June 30th, 2022, Troy Larson.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Tropiano and seconded by Mr. Titlebaum. I will go for a roll call vote.
we have
Mr.
any
Titlebaum.
discussion here?
Oh, yes, certainly. Go ahead.
I had spoke previously on the last appointment related to the balance of the diversity on the board. At present, we have a developer, contractor, a contractor, a master electrician, a realtor, broker, property manager, and I believe an administrative assistant. And then as our associate member, a person who works with computers and also has a small spoke canvas business. I don't really want to see another realtor on the board. I'd like to diversify it. We had to have another candidate, at least given an opportunity to look at the other candidate as we move forward. That's just a personal opinion, nothing against Mr. Larson. It's just, I'm looking to diversify the board and have some different insight into it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manise. Is there any further discussion? Then I will go for the roll call vote, please. Mr. Titlebaum,
Yes.
Mr. Tropiano,
Yes,
Mr. Manise,
No,
Mr. Slavin,
Yes,
myself, yes, 4-1-0. Mr. Larson, thank you. You might have heard the speech that I just gave.
Yep.
Town Hall, the paperwork won't be ready until Monday. And then you will go to the Selectmen's office. You will then go to the town clerk's office, be sworn in, and you will have 2 weeks to take the ethics course and the conflict of interest course and provide the certificates to the clerk.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
thank you very much.
Yep. Mr. Tropiano, another one?
yep, Council on Aging, Marie Riley. To a term to expire June 30th, 2022. Is she in the group there?
I don't see her.
Okay, we do have a recommendation, so I'm going to make a motion that we appoint Marie Riley to the Council on Aging to a term to expire June 30th, 2022.
Madam Chair, she was just brought in.
Okay.
Oh, thank
Bring her
you.
on.
Hello there.
Good evening. Would you choose to address the board about your interest in serving on the Council on Aging, Ms. Riley?
Certainly. I've been a resident of the town permanently for about 17 years now. And in all that time, I've been availing myself of the services of the Council on Aging and am friendly with many of the people on the board and on past boards. And I think it's time, instead of just enjoying being a member of the different programs that are available, I really should give a little bit of time to help out. So I've dealt with elderly. I'm a nurse, dealt with the elderly over my career, and I've dealt with the public over my career, because for much of my nursing career, I worked with an oral surgery group. So I was dealing with the public every day. So I do feel very comfortable. And I also feel really comfortable with the people that are currently on the board. And I know that I could work quite well with them.
Great, thank you very much. Do any of you gentlemen have a question of this young lady?
Thank
Alan,
you for the young lady part.
muted. You're welcome. Mr. Slavin, you're still muted.
That was a delay. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for applying. Do I have a motion?
I did make the motion.
Okay,
Second.
motion made and seconded. I will go for a roll call vote, please. Mr. Titlebaum,
Yes.
Mr. Tropiano,
Yes.
Mr. Manise,
Yes.
Mr. Slavin,
Yes.
myself, yes, 500. And you've heard the speech now.
Yes,
It'll
I
be the
have.
third
Thank
time.
you.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
Thank
volunteering.
you very
your time.
much. Okay. Good night now.
Good night.
Okay, next I have two constables, Joseph Latimer and Adam Loomis. Do you want to bring them in?
Sure. Mr. Latimer, I know, is here. And he is a reappointment and all of his paperwork is in order. Mr. Latimer, do you choose to address the board about your reappointment?
No, thank you. I'd just like to have it reappointed to serve the civil process in town. I've had it for many years and I'd just like to continue. Thank you.
Thank you. Do any of you gentlemen have any questions of Mr. Latimer?
Yeah, I do, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Through you, of course. Did you, I thought you decided not to reapply in the spring. Is that correct or incorrect?
No, it must have been someone else there. It wasn't me.
So you did apply or did not?
I did apply, and for some reason, I guess the paperwork got misplaced there. So I had to redo it again with Cassandra and push it all through. So I apologize for the delay on it, but it was on that end, unfortunately.
Did you, if I may still, did you have any services in the town in that year period? And if so, did you make compensation to the town for them?
I did. And I did make compensation. Yes, sir.
I believe I remember seeing his name on the report we had last week or 2 weeks ago.
Well, he didn't serve 2 weeks ago, did he? Have you been
No, but
serving in
before.
town?
No,
Huh?
I haven't. I haven't been
So-
serving.
Before.
It was before. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll agree to well, also, we're trying to cut down on the number, but if you would put in, and it was our error, then I would have no issue.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
As long as, I'd like to just reaffirm, not that I'm doubting you, just that everything's in proper order from the previous year.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll accept a motion.
Make a motion that we reappoint Joseph Latimer as a constable to a term to expire June 30th, 2022.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. I will ask for a roll call vote. Is there any further discussion? Mr. Titlebaum,
None. Yes.
Mr. Tropiano,
Yes.
Mr. Manise,
Yes.
Mr. Slavin, you're muted.
Sorry, I was going to make a comment that we had basically agreed a while ago to cut back on the number of constables simply because we don't really know how many we needed. We seem to have an excess number. This gentleman's qualifications, since he had applied, we missed it. I'll go ahead and vote yes, but I'll just give you a heads up. The next one coming up, I'm going to vote no because I think we have an excessive amount of constables. Therefore, it limits the amount of financial benefits to the individuals as well as the town. Thank you.
Thank you. And your vote was yes?
That's correct.
Okay, and my vote is yes. So that's 5-0-0 for a reappointment. Again, the paperwork would not be available until Monday in the office, Mr. Latimer.
Very good. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Good night.
Good night. I just want to respond to something that two of you seem to have said. Yes, we decided to cut back on the number of constables, and then we rethought that, and we thought, well, if people are willing to pay us $50 to be a constable and we get the service money, why would we not continue to do them? But I just would remind you that we did in fact have that conversation. Mr. Tropiano, do you have another candidate, sir? Can you bring in Mr. Loomis, please? Mr. Latimer, I'll ask you to leave. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we see Mr. Loomis? No. He was in fact invited. What's your pleasure?
I see his name there.
You do?
Yeah, in the attendees.
I just looked and I didn't see it.
Adam Loomis at the top.
Oh, the top. Okay, yep. Would you let Adam Loomis in, please? Good evening, Mr. Loomis. You are muted and we can't see you. So if you choose to address the board, please do.
Is that better?
We can hear you now. We don't see you, but that's okay. Whoops, you just lost. We can hear you. That's fine.
Okay.
Do you choose to address the board, sir?
Yes, I put an application in to become appointed as a constable in Wareham.
Yes.
I have 15 years experience doing this, appointed in currently 7 towns. Just looking to expand a little bit. Always pay fees on time. Pretty up to date on all laws, gone through numerous training over the years. And like I said, I've been doing this over 15, almost 20 years. And I'm relocated down in Bridgewater now, so I'm closer to Wareham. I have a lot of clients down in Plymouth, Wareham area, so I'm looking to expand down there.
Thank you. Do any of you gentlemen have any questions of Mr. Loomis? Mr. Titlebaum, no. Mr. Manise?
No.
Thank you. Mr. Slavin?
No.
Thank you. Mr. Tropiano, any questions?
We lost Patrick.
He's muted.
Okay. I will accept a motion.
Hold on one second. Let me dig it up on the agenda so I make it for the right.
June 30th, 2022.
Yep. Move to appoint Adam Loomis as a constable for the town of Wareham to a term to expire on June 30th, 2022.
Is there a second to that motion? I will second the motion. Is there any further discussion?
I'd like to just say that it's nothing to do with Mr. Loomis. But this will be 18 constables now, and some of them are non-performing. And I don't think we want to have our office staff expending time and energy sending out notices for collection when a number of the constables are are not performing work in Wareham. And therefore, I don't believe I will be voting to appoint an additional person. The other individual, as long as everything checks out and he had applied and it was our error, it was fine, but I'd like to cut it back so that we're not, there's a lot of low numbers, and I just think it takes more time than the return we get out of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. I will call for a roll call. Mr. Slavin,
No,
Mr. Titlebaum,
Yes.
Mr. Manise,
No,
myself, yes, and Mr. Tropiano. The motion is not carried. Mr. Loomis, we will not be appointing you at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. No other licenses and permits, and then down to town business. 9A, Mr. Sullivan, I believe you're going to be leading the discussion on this, the discussion and possible vote, the land disposition agreement.
Yeah, first, I know we've got the bond and we've got Mr. Foster waiting.
Oh,
Should we
want to go to that
proceed?
one? Sure. We will go to discussion and possible vote to approve the issuance and details of notes and bonds to be issued to the Mass Clean Water Trust for loan number CWP 20-09 and sign the related note closing papers. Mr. Foster, would you be let in, please, and then you can address us. Thank you. This is
Madam Chair.
Yep.
Yeah, you received the email with just some information on the progress. This has gone before town meeting, and you've approved the article to go on. So this is, you should also have been emailed the language.
Yes, sir.
With Mr. Tropiano not there for a moment, maybe perhaps somebody else will need to make the motion.
Yeah, all of the paperwork is in order. It requires the clerk to sign the documents, and I believe Mr. Tropiano did that. And then a majority of the rest of us. This is the $9 million. Mr. Foster, you can go ahead.
So this is from Article 18 of December 12th, 2020 from that town meeting. It's for the water pollution control facility upgrades, $9 million. It's a 2% loan. These documents, this vote tonight that you will take will authorize me to borrow up to $9 million from the Clean Water Trust. And the project is already underway. Mr. Campina has already sent out some information to the board. I believe you all have a copy of it. And this is for the interim loan right now. So that's just to be get underway and start paying off some of the bills.
Thank you. Do any of you gentlemen have any questions of Mr. Foster? He did send us a ream of information, by the way.
so that, just if I may, this is to bond the entire cost of all the projects that's been approved for the facility at this point in time.
It's for the upgrades. I believe it was for two equalization basins, denitrification filters, and odor control equipment.
Right. So this is a permanent bond to take care of that, and it's paid for through the.
Well, right now it's an interim loan. So as soon as the project's complete, it becomes a permanent bond. And at that time, we'll stop paying it out over 20 years. Right now, we'll just be paying interest on the money that we receive.
And it'll be at the 2% rate though, correct?
Correct.
And it'll continue at that rate?
Yes.
Okay. And that gets paid out of the water pollution control?
Yes, it does. Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions of Mr. Foster? I will accept a motion to authorize the signing of the notes and bonds to be issued.
Hold on, I think I have it in here.
Yeah, there is a vote for that.
Yep, there is an exact vote, so hold on, just let me
Yep.
clear it up. Let me get the right one here. Public office bond. Here we go. Ah. Where the heck is it? Where did they go? Hold on. There's actually a way to do that, folks. You know what? I got the packet here, but it's not in it. She didn't put it in here, I guess. So maybe we can have council jot something down quickly. Make sure we do it right.
No, that you need to have the exact language on there.
Yeah, I can, I think it's the whole thing. I, the clerk of the board.
That's it. That's the one.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. Okay.
Yes,
Can
so
you
you want to read that, Patrick? It's 2 pages.
Not in this packet. It's not in here.
Oh, okay, I've got it then.
Sorry.
This is the vote of the Board of Selectmen. I, the clerk of the Board of Selectmen of the town of Wareham, Massachusetts, certify that at a meeting of the board held November 23rd, 2021, at which meeting all members of the board were duly notified and at which a quorum was present, the following vote was passed, all of which appears upon the official record of the board in my custody. Voted 1, that the town shall issue a bond or bonds in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $9 million, the bonds, pursuant to chapters 29C and 44 of the general laws, and a vote of the town passed December 12th, 2020, Article 18, for planning or construction of sewers and other water pollution control abatement infrastructure, the project. 2, that in anticipation of the issuance of the bonds, the treasurer is authorized to issue an interim loan note or notes, the notes, from time to time in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $9 million. 3, that each bond or note shall be issued as a single registered security and sold to the Massachusetts Clean Water Trust, the trust, at a price determined pursuant to the financing agreement. 4, that the treasurer is authorized to determine the date, the form, the maximum interest rate, and the principal maturities of each bond and note, and to execute a financing agreement or agreements with the trust with respect to the sale of the bonds and notes, such date, form, and maturities, and the specific interest rate or rates of the bonds and notes to be approved by a majority of the Board of Selectmen and the treasurer and evidenced by their execution of the bonds or notes. 5, that any certificates or documents relating to each bond and note, collectively the documents, may be executed in several counterparts, each of which shall be regarded as an original and all of which shall constitute one and the same document. Delivery of an executed counterpart of a signature page to a document by electronic mail in a PDF file or by other electronic transmission shall be as effective as delivery of a manually executed counterpart signature page to such document. And electronic signatures on any of the documents shall be deemed original signatures for the purposes of the documents and all matters relating thereto having the same legal effect as original signatures. 6, that all action taken to date by the town and its officers and agents to carry out the project and its financing, including the execution of any loan commitment or agreement by the treasurer, are hereby ratified, approved, and confirmed. And 7, that the treasurer and the other appropriate town officials are each hereby authorized to take any and all actions necessary or convenient to carry out the provisions of this vote, including execution and delivery of the financing agreements and the project regulatory agreement or agreements relating to the project. I further certified that the vote was adopted at a meeting open to the public, that no vote was taken by secret ballot, that notice stating the place, date, time, and agenda of the meeting, which agenda included the adoption of the above vote, was filed with the town clerk, and a copy thereof posted in a manner conspicuously visible to the public at all hours in or on the municipal building that the office of the town clerk is located, or, if applicable, in accordance with an alternative method of notice prescribed or approved by the Attorney General set forth in 90 CMR 20.03 2B, at least 48 hours, not including Saturdays, Sundays, and legal holidays, prior to the time of the meeting, and remained so posted at the time of the meeting that no deliberations or decisions in connection with the sale of the bonds or notes were taken in executive session, and that the official record of the meeting was made available to the public promptly and remains available to the public, all in accordance with General Law 30A, Sections 18 to 25, as amended, further suspended, supplemented, or modified by the executive order of the Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20, dated March 12th, 2020, I further certify that the vote has not been amended, supplemented, or revoked and remains in effect on this date, dated November 23rd, 2021, and to be signed by the clerk of the Board of Selectmen.
Second.
Motion
Oh,
made.
is that Patrick's motion?
Yes, that was my motion. I read it exactly as I thought I should.
Okay, second.
Motion
I'd
made.
say the chairman also put me to sleep with her bedtime story.
Gee. Are there any further discussion of the motion? No. I will call for a roll call vote then, please. Mr. Slavin,
Yes.
Mr. Tropiano,
Yes.
Mr. Titlebaum.
Yes, and thank you to the Wareham taxpayer and ratepayer.
Great. Yeah.
Mr. Manise,
Yes.
myself, yes, 500. The document can be signed.
Madam,
Go ahead.
apparently you're not sounding right on the TV. They say you're very difficult to understand for some reason. I just want to ask if he's listening, if he could see what's going on with that so the people could hear it. That you're fine on Zoom. I can hear you perfectly, but for some reason or other, they cannot hear you very well on the TV show.
Thank you.
There seems to be a problem. The planning board last night, basically the same issue has been going on for a while, that whatever's coming out of WCTV through the cable affiliates is coming through. The voices are broken up. It's virtually impossible to hear what people are saying. It's been going on for, I'd say, 3 or 4 weeks minimum. I'm not sure why we can't fix it. Maybe we don't know what it is, but there has definitely been an issue.
So to the topic we were just discussing, I think John had sent, Mr. Foster had sent out a notice that he'd be available tomorrow for signatures. Am I correct or incorrect on that, John?
8
That's
o'clock in
correct.
the morning. 8 o'clock at the flagpole.
At the flagpole.
I didn't see that on the notice, but thank you.
It wasn't on the notice. It was an arrangement that we had to make, noting that this needed to be done.
I will be at work tomorrow. I'll be leaving for a couple hours and coming back in the afternoon.
Thank you very much, John.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Okay. Now we'll go back, Mr. Sullivan, to item A, which is land disposition agreement.
All set?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, thanks, John. Appreciate your
Yes,
time.
thank you.
You're welcome. Happy Thanksgiving.
Appreciate you doing this.
Thank you.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Appreciate you doing that tomorrow too.
Yep, no problem. Have a good night.
Good night.
You too. All right, thank you, Madam Chair. This is on the land disposition agreement for 8 Elm Street. And I do think there's, reading through the agreement, there's some additional language that should be in there that I think would be helpful to clarify. So I think we should hold off tonight and see what can be added.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you. So we will put that off.
Thank
All
you.
right, we'll move on to the discussion and possible vote on the audit committee.
Madam Chairman,
Yes, sir.
well, I apologize. I just wanted to jump in. I believe one of the citizens had raised a question as to how public funds could be spent on the dam where AD Makepeace owned the whole property. And if I may, I just thought this might be a time for me to address that question, since we're not allowed to address those questions during citizens' comment, but there is an agenda item. So if I may briefly, Madam Chairman, at no point has the town of Wareham ever asserted that AD Makepeace owns the dam in its entirety. The town's experts have determined that the town does have a share of ownership, a minority share of ownership, and therefore expenditure of public funds in support of the town's minority share ownership of the property would be appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bowen. I appreciate it. Okay, now we'll move on to the discussion about the audit committee. This is a committee that was started several years ago. It has languished. So I'm bringing it back.
The audit committee was formed under my request back so probably 4 or 5 years ago, maybe even 6 at this point. At that time, it was basically DOR and the state had a listing for an audit committee as being part of what they like to see in any municipality. So we put one together. What's happened over the last 4 years, we've come back with no issues on our audit whatsoever, to the point where the audit committee really would have not much input whatsoever. The audit committee would only have an input if there was a decision to change the auditors. Powers and Sullivan has done an excellent job over this period of time. And I believe, except for myself, I think the people who are on the audit committee have either moved out of town or retired from any involvement with the town. So if you want to bring this back and get it active, we're going to have to seek new members again. So it would be a matter of putting out a request for people if they'd like to join the audit committee. But as of right now, except for reviewing the audit statement just to check through, there's really been nothing to do, which actually is a real plus and an appreciation of the town accountant, the town administrator, all the department heads, et cetera, school department, everybody doing their job and doing it properly.
Okay, I actually believe that we don't need to revitalize it at this point. When it was started, there were issues that needed to be addressed, and the public needed to understand part of what the issues we had been going through. I don't have a problem with reinvigorating it, but it's up to you, gentlemen.
Well, what I would say is, I'd ask Mr. Sullivan whether he'd like to see it continue. Makes the DOR a little bit happy with us and everything else, or whether we just at this point sunset it for now.
Okay, Mr. Tropiano, you had something to say?
I thought that was a really necessity. And when Alan brought it up, was a terrific idea, because if you remember, we were just coming out of what I call the reign of terror in this town for a whole bunch of years. And unfortunately, I think things may be headed back that way coming into the future. And I hope that that's not the case. But at any rate, I think whatever Mr. Sullivan thinks is necessary, his team has done such a phenomenal job. I mean, I couldn't pat him enough on the back for what he's done and where he's placed us with the state and the kind of stuff that we have going on. No, people have no clue what this man has done with his team to get us to where we are right this minute. I mean, sure, all of us are, pushing him and trying to get him whatever, but we didn't need to, because that's the guy. It really is, and he really deserves a huge round of our gratefulness, for what the man did. I mean, we're no longer the poster child for DOR. We're now the people that are held up that this is what it can be. I mean, it's just phenomenal. And Derek, for me, I personally say thank you so very much for what you've done for us.
Thank you. Mr. Sullivan, do you choose to address whether we should reinvigorate this? It's a committee of 5 members, 2 town residents, staggered 3-year terms, 1 selectman, school committee, and town administrator and chief financial officer are routinely invited guests and shall not have a vote.
First, thank you, Madam Chair, members, and just to point out, you hit it right, Selectman Tropiano. It's the staff. The staff have done a fantastic job. The department heads, their employees. That this is all on them. So it's I appreciate it, but obviously we've done really good. We've got some great people in there watching it. I mean, what we do this year, I think I'd like to invite Powers and Sullivan in to probably speak to the board, and after the audit's released, and then let's make a determination then.
Sounds like a good idea. Sounds like a good idea. Great, thank you. All right, moving along.
So can I speak to this here?
Oh, yep, I didn't see you waving your hand.
Well, I was waiting until Mr. Sullivan finished. So on some of the roles and responsibilities of the independent auditors, a selection of the independent auditor every 3 years. And the committee, along with our chief financial officer, are supposed to send out an RFP and review, make selections. So I don't know if that's taking place, but it is one of the responsibilities of the committee. So I don't know what we've done in the interim if that isn't taking place. So, and then the actual document, I think it terminated. I didn't get a complete, but you know, I'm good for right now. But I want to just say that I don't think it's a bad idea. And I'm glad we'll have Powers and Sullivan talking to the board, because I don't think since I've been on here that they've come and spoken to us. And I don't know if maybe I've gotten copies of the audit, but I don't recall that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, unless some of you want to add something, we will move on. Thank you, Mr. Manise. Discussion and possible vote to approve the trash program for the calendar year 2022. Mr. Sullivan, you're back on the. You're muted.
Hold on, it took over my screen when I tried to share. No, that's.
Came up.
What are you saying for a screen share?
That's good.
Curbside and
Okay.
transfer station review.
It's perfect.
All right, so let's see if this one is gonna let me do it. All right, so the first, just going through this, one of the things I want to do is bring you through a background of where we've been on the expenditures and the revenues, and some future costs that are coming down the pike due to decisions by the Commonwealth, and some things to keep in mind. So the first slide that you're seeing is the Curbside Projected MSW, which is municipal solid waste. And that's the cost for the calendar year 2022, what we're estimating. So we're using actual 2021 data from April through October. If you remember, April was the first month the curbside started. So that's why we have estimates for the previous. Just through the notations, you'll see November through March are estimates, and I use the average of April, May, September, and October to make those averages, which is just under 435 tons a month. So the annual estimated amount of tonnage is 5,581.1 tons. Why is this important? Well, one of the things beforehand was when we weren't paying for tonnage. This is one of the big factors in the change. So Covanta for year 2, the increase is a little over, I believe, $1 a ton, and which brings us up to $79.59 per ton. So we have an estimated yearly cost of $444,120 roughly. I think this is using the actual tonnage and then some of the conservative estimates from October through October and December. It makes sense. I'm feeling pretty good about these. I don't think we need to go much above these for estimates. Is there any questions with this slide? The annual cost for the curbside. So if you remember, we pay two things. It's the cost of disposal and then the cost of picking up the municipal solid waste and recycling. So the ABC contract for the year would be just under $1,020,000. Then you would add in the disposal cost, the billing cost. We actually have to pay to put out the bills for this program, and it's roughly we've estimated $12,000 annually. This does not include the brush pile We man the brush pile. This is for anybody that's in the curbside or the transfer station program. Between having staff there and then grinding it, because it can cost you about 10 to 15,000 for materials to be ground. It's about 33,000 because I'm anticipating we're going to do about probably 2 grindings. And we got a lot of brush from the last big nor'easter, including some stumps. It does not include the hazardous waste day. I'm still using an estimate of about $40,000 on that for the hazardous waste day. And then so the total cost without including the brush pile and the hazardous waste is 1.476 million. So what I wanted to use was the actual collections on the second half bills. So don't be alarmed by seeing 807,000. That's just the second half of the bills. Curbside. We're quite literally going to double that. But that's what we've actually collected from the bills we've sent out. So in doubling those, that brings you up to $1,615,404. The curbside estimated expenses at the 1.476 million. Gives us you check the surplus or deficit, he keeps it right at $139,296. That's why I'm saying if some of the tonnage goes up, we've got some room. There's also, when I haven't included, there's outstanding bills that might be paid from one half of the year versus the other. We don't include that in the revenue because it's never guaranteed. Just like when you get past due tax revenue, if you're auctioning off the house or something, you can't guarantee that from one year to the other. So this puts it right in line for the curbside to collections. And, we have to think there's some other costs coming down the pike, but I think we're right in line. I don't recommend increasing the rates for the curbside program, even though there's an increased cost to the tonnage and the pickup. I think we should stay the same. The next is the transfer station revenue and expenses. So this is a little different. These are the actual stickers sold. And these have fluctuated a little bit during the year because some people had regular stickers, then were moved into the seasonal, and some people left the program. Just as a non sequitur, we've had a little over 1,000 people opt out of the program totally, and we're still operating fine with that. So regular stickers, $1,900. The cost of $120. The second sticker, if they have another vehicle, $60. Curbside, then you go to the second curbside. If they request another sticker, that's $60 as well. Seasonal, about $143, and senior, $94. I thought there'd be more of the seasonal, but a lot of people went with the seasonal curbside, believe it or not. So, and then Carver, $434, and we charge them a little bit more, but with the uptick. So part of that's because, don't forget, we're actually covering a lot of these operations with town employees and some other overhead that's not being billed to the trash program. So if this were an enterprise fund, it would obviously be different. We'd be charging a lot more back to the program, some of the indirect and direct costs. But the payroll, we're estimating about 120,000. Why estimate? Well, we're trying to use essentially 4 part-timers as they change out through the year, but sometimes we need to put town employees in there. There's also some roles that are played from OT and other matters for there. Repairs, maintenance, and upgrades. For example, one of the compactors is shot, but we're moving the other one that we got from the Marion transfer station into that location. But we're rebuilding 2 of those bins. And if that rebuild doesn't take, it can cost you about 10, 15K per. So sticker stock and processing. When you do the online sticker order, especially, the transaction fee, if you will, is $3. And rather than tacking it on top, having people pay, we've had it part of the whole cost of the program. So that's built into the fee. Recycling hauls, just so you know, we pay for a hauler to come pick up the recycling, dump it off at waste 0, and then bring things back. Each one of those hauls can cost, shoot, I had it on here, but I believe that was about $85 per, and then the solid waste is $115 per. Why is the solid waste so much lower when you see this? Well, we've got the compacting bins, so you're really only doing about 4 of you can do about 4 of those spins a week, let's say, if you had to on there. But recycling, you're turning over a lot more because those get filled up pretty quickly. Just some of the printing of bills and such I put in for the 2,000 electricity, and then the insurance and lease brings up to about 287,000. So this is, again, right in line. You've got a surplus deficit. We're still at 27,480. So if we bring it together, the curbside surplus, the transfer station, then you do the hazardous waste and the brush pile. We're in a really good position that we can weather some fluctuations without having to worry about a mid-year correction to any of the pricing. So again, my recommendation would be to keep the cost the same. Just an idea, this is the curbside recycling using some of the estimates, but when you do the actual for April, May, you'll just see we do have the seasonal hump. And then bring it down. And transfer station was a little different because of January, they were basically the only game in town, if you remember, outside of the other haulers. Slight down, I think you got everybody and their cousin trying to dump everything out of their house in January. February, that started to go down. Then March, right before the curbside was coming, I think everybody basically did the same thing. April, again, before you had some people switching over to the curbside. Then you saw sort of the seasonal hump. It was strange at July, but July was a strange month. So I think we didn't get some of the seasonal folk down for as much of July as you usually get. And then you see it sort of even out into October, and then November and December are the estimates. So doing pretty well. So my recommendations would be no fee increases to the curbside or transfer station programs. Keep the brush pile open. Continue annual hazardous waste day. Within the next year or so, a little after, we're going to have to look at the cost because we need to remove all textile and mattresses from the municipal solid waste program. That some of that will have a cost, definitely. Some of the textile programs, they do pay some monies, but I'm not interested in us starting to get the bins out there that turn it into a trash haven again. And then obviously the mattress programs are something that's iffy. I think we could probably see what locations we could use to do a mattress program. And that's one of the biggest things that we do hear from some of the residents. What do I do with a mattress? I have to pay $40 to get rid of it. It is expensive. Some people will cut them up, take the metal out of it, but that's a lot of work. So don't burn them in your backyard. That's not good. So, and then, you know, one of the things we should see as things continue to progress is price out an annual bulky item pickup day. And probably the easiest would be everybody that's, you know, part of the program, you know, see how you want to do it with curbside versus transfer station. But you have the one day with on the curbside, people put something out. You can do a couch or chairs or something like that. And that, right, in speaking to some of the collectors, it's easiest to do it as a one day rather than have a continuous calls throughout the year. But I think that may be my recommendation to look into that.
Thank you. I just have one question of you, Mr. Sullivan. In Rhode Island,
Yeah.
I believe it's the law that people who sell mattresses have to take the oldies back in trade. And I was hoping that when Cardi's came to Wareham, that program would transfer over here. In other words, that if you bought mattresses from Cardi's, that they would take the old ones away. And that did not transfer over, unfortunately. But I think that's something that other states have been successful in putting into law.
Yeah, I think it would make a lot of sense. I mean, the cost is just built into the new mattress, if you will, but sometimes that makes it a little more palpable.
Well, you don't have to get rid of it. They, you know, one comes in the house and the other one goes out, kind of thing. Thank you for your presentation, gentlemen. Do you have any questions of Mr. Sullivan? Mr. Manise?
How many, do you know what the numbers were for hazardous waste day as far as users?
Yeah, Jim, I haven't received, excuse me, Selectman Muniz, I haven't received that.
Well, thank you. And nice presentation. And if you could forward that to us, it'd be great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Very good.
Thank you. Mr. Slavin, no questions? You're all set?
All set.
Okay. Mr. Titlebaum, you all set?
Yep.
Okay, great. Okay, I'm all set too. Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Do you need a motion from us to keep the program, the prices the same?
I would like that.
I'll accept a motion. Mr. Titlebaum?
Move to accept and approve the trash program for calendar year 2022 as presented.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. I will go for a roll call. Is there any further discussion? Mr. Slavin?
Yes.
Mr. Titlebaum?
Yes.
Mr. Manise?
Yes.
Myself, yes. So it's 4-0-0. Mr. Tropiano was absent for a few minutes. Moving on, we need to.
I just 1 second, if I
Yep.
could. Yeah, I just wanted to thank the town administrator, you know, for all the work that's gone into this. And, you know, weathering the initial storm for the first couple of months where, you know, the operator had to get used to, you know, where we live, where we are. I mean, we know all that. They didn't in many instances. And after the first couple of months, you started seeing a lot fewer complaints about it. The company did a better job. I think we did a better job. I'd also like to thank Patty Neal for the amazing job she did processing all of the various opt-outs and discounts and just general inquiries about the trash program. We really heaped an awful lot on her plate and she really came through for us. So I'm very appreciative of everything she did.
Yeah, Amber and Tracy over at Municipal Maintenance are amazing as well. You know, the Treasurer Collector's Office, but this was all extra duties heaped onto them. So this, you know, is really creating a giant new bureaucracy for us that's about, you know, 15% of our entire municipal budget when you think about it from the local government budget. This is what we've added to it with, you know, without adding administrative staff. So it's been pretty amazing.
It's been pretty amazing. Okay, we need to move on and discuss and possibly vote to authorize Patrick McDonald, the Board of Health Director, to act as the town's authorized representative for ARPA applications and disbursements, as well as Judith Lauzon, Town Accountant, to act as the town's authorized reporter or preparer for the ARPA funds. Mr. Slavin?
Have no issue. Patrick is, grown into the job that he recently was appointed to. He's done a great job with the CARES Act, working with a town administrator in different departments to getting the actual reports into Plymouth County in particular. And basically, we're maxing out our monies available. And I've watched it work. I keep after it. And sometimes I'm a pain in the ass about it, asking how much we put in, et cetera. And he's done a great job. And I have great faith in him being able to handle the ARPA program in conjunction with Tom O'Brien, the treasurer of Plymouth County, and Judy Lauzon. So I'm fine with this.
Excellent. Mr. Manise, do you have any? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Titlebaum.
I did have a question, certainly for the CARES Act, which, a lot of that was, directly pandemic related and therefore directly, related to health matters. It certainly made sense to have Mr. McDonald do that. I'm wondering, though, would it make sense to also authorize additional people? Because ARPA's, a different type of program. That's not necessarily all within sort of the Board of Health wheelhouse. So I'm wondering if we should, and I would certainly ask for the town administrator's input, but perhaps delegate that make him an authorized representative or possibly the director of planning, because I think both of those positions might be, the ones you would want dealing with certain applications under ARPA. So through you, I'd ask the town administrator what he thinks about that.
Mr. Sullivan?
I think you'd be muddying the waters. We're trying to keep the lines keep the lines of one person and then the reporter through the town accountant. This is more infrastructure. I don't think the director of planning. I think you're almost at municipal maintenance or then to the water pollution control facility director. They will all be engaged in this. This is what we're really doing, is creating the aggregator and then the reporter here. Mr. McDonald serves as the emergency management director as well. Also deals with the grants that he puts in from that realm. He's worked with Plymouth County on this. I think it's a good relationship. We have looked to see if we can additionally hire an auditing firm for this on our side as well. Just taking a look at some of these things. Our greatest concern, as always, is we want to make sure what we're approving and allocating is the right thing. So CARES Act was very was a bit of a nerve-wracking, because you had to expend the money, then put in for it, and then they'd tell you if you were eligible for a reimbursement.
Yeah.
So one of the things we like to do was see what flew in other communities and what passed through there outside of the some of the other items. So I do not think we need to have anybody else in this role. That's my long-winded answer.
Okay, that's fine.
Is there any further discussion about these?
I'd like to say something here.
Yes, Mr.
I know, and Patrick does a fine job, and I kind of, my sentiment's the same related to the CARES Act and ARPA funding. I'm wondering why you, Mr. Sullivan, would not be the point person on it, and you could assign Mr. McDonald, is it?
McDonald.
As under your authority to, take care of the paperwork and whatnot. And that way we would have a direct line of communication with the person or people, yourself, who's putting in the ARPA plan requests. Otherwise, it goes through you to him, and we can't speak with we shouldn't be speaking and having discussion on what we should or shouldn't do with Mr. McDonald directly. So it becomes, you're going from, instead of talking to you, you would talk to him. I mean, that's how it's set up, isn't it? The government, our form of government, indirect access, or otherwise.
So this is for reporting to Plymouth County. I would think that we can still have a direct line through myself. If I'm appointed, my understanding is I'm the one that actually would be going to all these meetings and doing a lot of that if you want. And so I'm just going to tell you, it's another thing on the agenda. I don't think I can delegate. I could check, but my understanding is that's what we're doing here, is giving who can do the authorizations to Plymouth County and do all the information, but it's up to the board.
I'll just jump in here. I believe that the structure that's recommended, Mr. McDonald and Ms. Lauzon, makes all of the sense in the world. It is Plymouth County. If Derek had another spare 5 minutes, somebody would have taken it already. Yes, he's in charge of everything, but we need to have people who have the time and the energy and the knowledge to serve as these two functionaries.
And what actually, what are we looking to do for the opera funds and whatnot? I mean, we haven't discussed that, right?
What Ms. Lauzon would be the reporter for the town. She would be authorized to prepare and enter the information into the Plymouth County American ARPA portal. And McDonald would be to approve, finalize, and submit on behalf of the town any grant applications.
Madam Chairman?
Yes, sir.
With your permission, may I ask the town administrator a question? Just because I was a little interested in the arrangement. Derek, am I correct in thinking that this new federal, the new federal money there, it has two components. One would be the policy-making decisions that would have to be made by the policy-making authorities as to how the money is spent. And would it then be correct that Mr. McDonald, Ms. Lauzon would be acting only as reporters and accountants in recording the decisions made by others, made by the policymakers? In other words, I believe what Selectman Manise is saying is that nobody has decided how this money is going to be spent, and are Mr. McDonald and Ms. Lauzon going to be the ones to decide it, or, will the board at some point get a whack at it?
I want Jim to get his teeth in on this one.
Well, I just, that's where the confusion is. The way it's written, as far as the way I read it, is that they made the authorization to determination. And I understand Judith's position, and nothing against Patrick. He does a great job and a fine job, but you're our procurement officer, and a lot of this will have to go through procurement, correct?
Yeah, a lot of it will be procured. I sign off on the procurement and the contracts, things such as that. But we're also going to have to put things out. For example, if you're doing, if a nonprofit role creeps in there, Jim, what you'd be doing is putting out requests for probably, I'm thinking qualifications or even proposals for some of them. So if Damien's or Turning Point want to use some of the funds, but we're also going to have to decide some of the projects from the, if you will, the physical side, such as wastewater projects. Those are one of the big ones as part of this. because we also talked about some of the potentially some of the bridges, like over in Fearing Hill, that bridge, some of those items, but there's no decisions made. What we're trying to figure out is what things are eligible, and then start putting a list together and obviously bring it before the board for some of those items. This is a little bit different. We don't have to spend this within, you don't have 8 months or something. It's about a 36-month time frame.
Correct.
And it's also, you put in for it and then you receive the funds and can do the project, which is, it's almost a 180 from the CARES Act. The CARES Act was a lot more, excuse me, if you will, of the day-to-day. In other words, hey, we need more hand
Right.
sanitizer, we need more masks, we need, so yeah, I think this should be more of the roles of the board on this.
There is
So
further-
even,
Go ahead.
yeah, even on this, so in other words, just, so I think to truly clarify is, Mr. McDonald can't tell us to go scram, I'm doing what I want. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I just, the way I read it, to approve and finalize and represent to approve, final, submit on behalf of the town. So maybe it's just my reading into it. The approval process would be, I think, yourself, the select board, and then he would process, make sure everything that we're doing is correct and process it. Do you follow what I'm saying? I just read that off of the statement in the agenda. So it's just a little confusion on my part.
Alan?
Just to clear it up, to make it simple, because I've been involved with the CARES and the opera, through my other positions at the state. These positions are more administrative and clerical. They're not the ones that make the decisions. There's a very direct way they do it. The opera is almost 180 different than the CARES Act, because the money's come before, the money's come after. The opera, you don't get anything unless the project is approved by the state, which basically comes through Plymouth County, who does that work for us ahead of time when we apply. And then it goes to the state for approval, and the money's actually in Plymouth County. There's also state money coming through this as well, and the process is much the same. So I think we're reading in by the description of the warrant article, as Jim is referring to, that it muddies up what it is. It's really very simple. It's, Patrick is doing an administrative piece of basically processing into the county. Judy has certain responsibilities that are required, again, because opera requires a lot of paperwork. So neither one of those are making the decision of what goes in and what doesn't. It's really going to be between Mr. Sullivan, the department heads, coming to the board for, explanation, and then Patrick at that point applies.
Right. I read it the same way in the letters that I have been prepared for my signature to go to, I guess, Plymouth County. Very clearly indicate that it is clerical work, grant applications, certifications, putting stuff in the portal, I won't say blah, 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 but it is very clear that it's not decision-making. It is clerical work to.
No, that's good. I didn't see those papers, so I was.
Okay. Do you want me to read them? Okay. Do you want me to read them?
You can forward them to me. I'll take your word for it. I was just.
I think they were in the packet. Yeah.
I went through everything. And,
okay.
They weren't there.
Well, let me read them into the record then. The Wareham Board of Selectmen votes to authorize Judith Alzan as the reporter for the town of Wareham. She will be authorized to prepare and enter information into the Plymouth County American Rescue Plan portal in support of one or more applications to Plymouth County for grants, ARPA grants, to be funded from a grant received by Plymouth County under the American Rescue Plan Act. That's hers. Then his would be Vote to authorize Patrick McDonald as representative to approve, finalize, and submit on behalf of the town of Wareham any such ARPA grant applications and to make all representations and certifications required to be made on behalf of the town to complete each such application with such approval, representations, and certifications to be evidenced by the signature of Patrick McDonald on such application. And if any such ARPA grant is awarded, Patrick McDonald should be the recipient of such grant on behalf of the town. That doesn't mean that he gets to go on vacation. It means that he passes it through to the town. So that's really,
No, I had that piece there. I thought you had other information.
oh, no.
But thank you. I'm
Okay.
good. You know, I'm good. I'm done talking about this.
Okay, great. May I have a motion, please? Mr. Slavin, you seem to be there.
Motion so made.
Second,
Motion made and seconded, and I'll go for a roll call vote. Mr. Slavin,
Yes.
Mr. Titlebaum,
yes.
Mr. Manise,
Yes.
myself, yes, 400. Town administrators report.
Madam Chair, one of the things I need from the select board is for the annual meeting for Maya, for our insurance company, they need a delegate. So I would probably write, Alan, do you usually attend those, the Maya business portion or no?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I can't guarantee I would stay for that. I'm not as policy wonky as you.
Yeah,
That's-
I'm locked into that program completely.
So my recommendation would be for select board member Slavin to be voted as the delegate. If that's okay with everyone.
Do we need a motion? Or do we just,
Yeah, we can probably. Okay.
yes, a motion or no?
So made.
I was
to,
selecting.
Okay, motion made and with a second?
Second,
Motion made and seconded to appoint Mr. Slavin.
under 48-hour business.
Yeah,
We can bring it forward as, I mean, it's in January, so. you
okay,
guys
so
can
let's
take
not,
vote.
let's not do it. I'll put it on in 2 weeks. If,
Okay, withdraw my second.
thank you. Can you withdraw the motion, please?
That would be
Um,
all.
Like
Thank
to
you.
withdraw the motion.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And I'll get it on. Thank you. Anything else, Mr. Sullivan?
Yeah, it's just to bring up what select board member Slavin was speaking about. This week, we have had a big jump in positive COVID cases. Last week, we had 41. This week, 72 confirmed cases, so a substantial jump. And just an interesting thing, 30% of the cases were fully vaccinated, you know, those that were vaccine age eligible. About 59 of the cases were not vaccinated and 11% were partially. So basically 70-30 to partially or not vaccinated to vaccinated.
That's scary.
So it's, yeah, so it's, you know, it's that time we had to cancel a meeting today because some people had, one was positive and the others had been potentially exposed. So it's happening, it's out there, and, you know, I think everybody's doing everything possible they can to be safe. It's just, it's a crazy, crazy thing.
Thank you. Anything else, sir?
Yeah, so it's really the crew over at Municipal Maintenance with the remembrance trees have been fantastic. The work they've put into this and the pride. I really want to thank, you know, each and every one of them that's been working on it. And we only have 10 trees left as of this early afternoon out of 73. It was the total. So really great outpouring. Can't thank the residents enough. Some are donating more than the 25 because it's going to Damien's. And you know, we had Olson's that wholesaled the trees, so did a cost. And I'm happy to say that South Coast Health has fully said they will fully fund the entire program. So all our costs associated with it, they're going to cover. So there'll be, outside of significant labor from the staff, this has turned out to be no cost really to the town. So drive by, it's really awesome. There's 8 more trees that need the lights on it. And if you know your number, this weekend you start decorating. The wind is vicious. Make sure get some extra long of the cover of the wire and wrap it around those branches. So, but I'm so proud of the community. It's been excellent.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. We will move forward with the liaison and initiative reports. Mr. Slavin, you're muted.
Senior moment. We attended the Horseshoe Dam, if you want to call it ribbon cutting. It's been basically in place for about a month or so. I have to give credit to the Buzzards Bay Coalition for the work done there. There's about 2 or 3 trails that are really great. They're basically 3 different levels of trails. If you can't walk very much, there's a simple one. If you like to walk a lot, there's a big long one. Either way, it like brings you back to nature between as Mrs. Whiteside said, you can just sit by the bridge there and listen to the water running through. And if that doesn't make you happy, not much will in life. The other piece is the planning board met last night. They continued the solar projects, and the Bay Point has added a phase 4 to their project list. And the first hearing was last night on it. Hopefully the next hearing will be in about 3 weeks, and that will get finalized. Then we can move forward on all the different parts there as well. We all got notification today of LDA Holdings on 6 Thatcher Lane. Cultivator, they've got their final license and approval to move forward. I was hoping to try and get the Doobie Group into that list as well, but the agenda went out 2 days before I called, and they were not able to add it to the list because of the legal notification requirements. So they'll be on next month's hearing to get that done. I'm trying to push through as best I can legally and correctly different applications that we have for many different ventures that have been approved in Wareham, which are very slow coming. So we're trying to get caught up as well. And that's it. Again, hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Mr. Titlebaum.
I don't have anything. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manise.
No, I'm all set.
Thank you. Mr. Tropiano.
Thank you for indulging me.
You all set on liaison reports?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you. So am I. We do have a set of minutes to approve, October 19th, 2021.
Yes, we do. We have, I got right here, it says, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the October 19th, 2021 minutes for the regular Board of Selectmen meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
A motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? I will go for a roll call.
Yeah, just real quick on town business B on the Everett School. I don't know, maybe I did vote against it. I thought I just wanted to make sure that we had a minimum amount, set, what the actual appraisal of the property was. But
we can hold them off and we can listen to the tape, Mr. Manise.
Yeah, that's my only question. And
okay,
but beyond that, I was good with it. Thank you.
Okay, so can you withdraw your motion, please, Mr. Tropiano?
Yes.
Thanks. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. We have nothing else to do except to go into executive session. And before we do that, I'm going to say that we will be dismissing or adjourning from executive session. Before we go into executive session, well, the WCTV knows who's going to be coming in. And so I will accept a motion to go into executive session for
I believe litigation, right?
It's 3 and 6.
3 and 6, okay. So for litigation with regards to the Kimberley neighborhood versus the town of Wareham, and also 6 for Little Harbor purchase of property.
Thank you. Motion made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion to go into executive session for those two reasons? I will
We
take
won't
it,
put it back out, so.
and we will not be coming back up. Mr. Tropiano,
Yes.
Slavin,
Yes.
Titlebaum,
Yes.
Manise,
Yes.
myself, yes. And we are now going to go into executive session. Mr. White, please let in the gentleman that I gave you the name of earlier, Mr. Pfaff. And I don't believe anybody else needs to come in. So now I'm going to ask WCTV to confirm that we cannot be heard by anybody. Steve, good evening. How are you?
Good evening, Chairwoman Whiteside.
We're just
Yeah,
going to hang on a minute until we make sure that the webinar has been shut out and down for everybody except the people that you see.